Public Safety Commission, Monday, November 18th. Can I get a roll call?
Chair Carmichael.
Here.
Commissioner Gupta? Oh, he's coming. He's behind. Commissioner Gall?
Here.
Commissioner Kleinbaum?
Here.
Commissioner Eschentrias? Here. Commissioner Skiba?
Here.
And Commissioner Wodnicki.
Here.
Roll call is complete.
Stand, salute to the flag.
Great.
3, 2, 1. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Seated. Motion to approve the order of agenda?
So moved? I second it.
All right. Motion by Commissioner Gall, second by Commissioner Kleinbaum. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good.
Any blue folder items?
No blue folder items. You can proceed to the consent calendar.
Oh, there's mine.
All right.
It's left-handed too. Nice.
Business items, except those formally noticed for public hearing or discussion, are assigned to the consent calendar. The commission members may request that any consent calendar items be removed, discussed, or acted upon separately. Items removed from the consent calendar will be taken up under excluded consent calendar section below. Those items remaining on the consent calendar will be approved in one motion following oral communications. Okay. Any motions to remove or change any of the consent calendar items? Motion to approve consent calendar as is.
I motion to approve.
A second.
All right. Motion by, that was Commissioner Kleinbaum. Second by Commissioner Skiba. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent calendar is so approved. You can proceed.
The F1?
No, those are the items that were approved on the
Oh,
consent
okay, cool,
calendar.
great.
You can proceed to, none were moved to G, so you could proceed to H.
Item H, this section is intended to provide members of the public with the opportunity to comment on any subject that does not appear on the agenda for action. I repeat, that does not appear on this agenda. This section is limited to 30 minutes. Each speaker will be afforded 3 minutes to address the commission. Each speaker will be permitted to speak only once. Written requests, if any, will be considered first under this section. Any members of the public like to speak on a non-agenda item?
I have one written request from our good friend John Pershland,
So that
and
counts.
then one additional.
Great.
Hi, good evening. Good to see you guys again.
Good
Been a
evening.
while. My name's John Pershland. I live at 1303 South Prospect Avenue. I just want to give you a sort of an update on what's been going on in relation to the traffic and safety issues some of us feel we have in what I call the corridor, which is Prospect and PV Boulevard in the intersection. As you know, the police did a study on that area with a stealth device to track how many cars go by and what their speed was and all that. We got a copy of it after pulling some teeth. We finally got a copy. With approval, we shared the report with residents in the area to have them review it. We have up to 26 people we work with or talk to and that sort of thing. I was assured by the police that we would have an opportunity to review questions and concerns with them. The exact quote was, "The traffic unit would be happy to meet with you to discuss the results of the stealth stat report," unquote. So what we did was we got everybody to submit their questions and concerns, and we put a document together, which I took and shared with the police department, and Nels actually is here, and So they got a copy. After about 3 or 4 weeks, didn't hear anything from anybody, so I sent an email to the chief and asked what might be going on. The next day, I got an email from the police department stating that we reviewed the manual, and at this intersection does not appear to present a major traffic-related concern. And that was the end of that. There was no discussion, no thank you for your, well, there was a thank you for the document. Inside the document are comments from residents, and the section addressing the concerns other than speeding are in the document. We had other areas we put in there about what goes on around in the corner, around the intersection. So that response really came as a shock to us. I mean, it really did. It really got some residents saying, it appears clear the police don't care what goes on around here because they don't care what we're saying. So you can relay that to whoever. I continue to gather stats at the corner because nobody else is doing it. But recently at the intersection on 3 separate days, 134 cars went through one of the red lights in one direction. 41 of them were during the hour the school kids crossed that intersection, and that was only 1 hour, 41 of them. Hundreds of tractor trailers, large trucks crossed the intersection in all directions. They are now coming from Prospect Avenue. It's like the word's out, hey, use Prospect Avenue, because big tractor trailer from Albertsons came around the corner the other day. And there's trucks all the time coming from PCH down Prospect Avenue. 600 cars and motorcycles accelerated from the intersection at high rates of speed, emitting loud exhaust. This is what I call the wannabe drag racers. They take off from the red light, going through the gears, or they come through thinking it's the Isle of Man. And
Motion to extend.
I'm sorry?
Motion to extend.
Second.
Make a motion to extend this time, please.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, ran so long.
Go.
Okay, so anyway, the residents feel there's a lot more issues than something you gather with a stealth device to see how many cars and what their speed is. I mean, there's cars going through stop signs on all the avenues, and the police get called. Tony up the street calls them all the time. Sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. The sign at Toledo's school crossing is out. I clock cars going 20 miles an hour over the speed limit, 25 miles an hour, while kids are at the corner. If you talk to the crossing guards down there, both of them, the one at my corner and the one down there, they'll both tell you it's a nightmare. The cars don't stop, they don't slow down, and they're scared to death to even go out there and stop the cars while kids are crossing. In closing, you know, we sort of say, I don't know if there's another area in Redondo that's all residential and has this much traffic going through it, with tractor trailers, with cars speeding, with, you know, it's all residential, and that's why there's a concern. You got 3 schools in 1/2 of a block area, and you got 7 in the total area. So, you know, we feel there should be a little more traffic calming, if you will, in this area because of that fact alone, that it's residential and that there's schools. That's pretty much all I got. If you got any questions, be happy to talk to you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. I wanted to get a copy of this. I don't know what the protocol is to get a copy of this.
I believe someone just makes a
Motion to receive and file.
and file.
Oh, I'll make a motion to receive and file.
I'll second it.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Do I give that to you?
Can I ask him questions?
You can ask them a clarifying question.
Oh, yeah, a clarifying question. The numbers that you had mentioned, was that gathered by you or was that from the report?
That, theirs are gathered from me. I have I put a video camera up on my property, and I'll put it on the roof of my garage, which overlooks the intersection. And then I go through it, and I spend a lot of time doing this. But I'll go through it, and I can see where a car's going through a red light, so I do a screen grab of that. And I send all of that to the police department and the traffic report thing.
And I know you've mentioned this before, I'm sure. You had mentioned traffic calming is what you're looking for. What type of traffic calming are you looking
I
for?
failed to mention, we did meet with Mills the other night for 2 hours. There was 5 or 6 of us that met with him. And we sort of reviewed or talked about different things we might be able to do or could be done. You know, there's traffic circles, whether it apply, I mean, I guess a study would have to be done or whatever, but Mills came up with some ideas and maybe more of a presence from the police. I mean, we're not saying be there all the time, but come by periodically and let people know that there's a presence so that they all of a sudden go, hey, wait a minute, I know I see him pulling people over on occasions. Somebody got pulled over right in front of my house yesterday for whatever, but we'd like there to be a plan of some sort to say, we can calm this traffic down somehow. And here's what we do. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Vivek has arrived.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Just for the minutes.
Let's put,
Just, we just state your full name and spell it. Pretty please.
Yes, sir. Good evening. My name is Christopher
I
Jones.
have his memorized, so I don't have to.
Can only hope to achieve.
Right.
CHRISTOPHER, Jones, JONES.
Thanks, sir. You can begin.
So I'm a resident of District 1. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. At the beginning of the year, my neighbors and I came to the commission with a concern regarding our neighborhood. Short story was and is, there's been increased speeding, truck traffic, and speeding truck traffic, both down Palos Verdes Boulevard and Prospect Avenue over the last several years. You may recall, this was not long after my friend and neighbor had been hit by a vehicle in the crosswalk during a little dog walking excursion of his. This event obviously galvanized the folks in my area. Incidentally, just a couple of months ago, a car came around the corner fast enough, a Tesla, to wipe out the fire hydrant on the corner. Luckily, the fire hydrant was there because my neighbor, John's next door neighbor, was getting out of his vehicle. And if the fire hydrant hadn't been there, you know, he probably would have been hit on the sidewalk by the car going around the corner very fast. A number of us spoke with you at the meeting. This was back, I think we were here a couple of times in the February, March timeframe to share concerns about traffic safety, trucks, quality of life. Suggestions and recommendations were made by the community. You all in turn asked a number of questions, and I believe recommended and passed at least several commission actions. At your suggestion, a number of my neighbors and I subsequently attended the Public Works Commission meeting as well. Several of you joined us, for which I want to express my sincere thanks. So what has happened since then? There have been a number of RBPD enforcement events, both traffic enforcement and CHP truck traffic enforcement. I'd like to thank RBPD. And in fact, there's a big sign westbound on Palos Verdes Boulevard flashing no truck route right now as we speak. I'm not sure if that's the PD or Public Works, but in any case, that's appreciated. While I'm at it, I'd like to thank the chief for meeting with us face-to-face to talk about our concerns. This was greatly appreciated by myself and my neighbors. There's no doubt that enforcement works, at least for a limited amount of time. Something I can tell you we didn't appreciate was the city staff's recommended option to make Palos Verdes Boulevard and Prospect Avenue truck routes. If you attended that Public Works Commission meeting, their idea was gap closure. So let's just make Prospect and Palos Verdes truck routes, and then we won't have a problem with Torrance sending trucks down through our residential neighborhood. This is obviously not acceptable and certainly would improve traffic safety in our residential neighborhood with a number of schools, preschools, junior highs, high schools, and whatnot, right in the area. On the other hand, Public Works did put up no truck signs eastbound on Palos Verdes Boulevard near PCH. Unfortunately, there is still no such signage at many of the other entry points, which frankly doesn't make sense to me at all. So the flashing speed zone sign in front of Toledo still doesn't work. I think John just mentioned that. The 30-mile-per-hour speed limit sign in front of my neighbor's house.
Motion to extend.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The 30-mile-per-hour speed limit sign in front of my neighbor's house is so old, it's no longer white and black, just a dingy gray color. So why am I here tonight? You are the Redondo Beach Safety Commission. I'm hoping you can tell me what you and the city have done, if anything, to address our traffic concerns. We all know the situation is only going to get worse with the new development, 300 units on PCH when it opens soon. Is there any news on Torrance correcting their city's truck route signage? What about the remaining RB no truck signage, which is still missing in action? What about my neighbor's suggestions for potential bike lanes, bollards, traffic circles, et cetera, which were discussed about 9 months ago? Respectfully, over to you. Thank you.
Quick clarifying question, if I may. Of the number of vehicles or trucks specifically in your calculation, how many are exempt? And by exempt, I mean they're U-Hauls, they're, there are certain exemptions to trucks. So I want to make sure that if we're charging up this hill, we're, towing the right flag, if you will.
So let me try to answer as best I can. So I'm an engineer, so I like to be precise. I don't have data. I can only give you kind of a qualitative, anecdotal answer. John has provided a lot of data to the city. I can tell you there's a lot of tractor trailers, dump trucks, cement trucks going up and down those roads.
Okay.
When you see an Athens or Waste Management, truck with a 27-yard roll-off on the back, it's probably not going to one of my neighbor's houses. It's going to the commercial district or up into Palos Verdes or down onto PCH. I personally am not too worried about, small vans and box trucks. I'm worried about tanker trucks, tractor trailers, right? Cement trucks. There's nothing like, trimming your hedges and hearing the sound of a big truck running to the light and hitting his horn because he ain't stopping. So there's kind of my anecdotal opinion on that. I realize there's a lot of traffic. It's 4 lanes, in both directions. I can deal with that, but trucks shouldn't be going down Prospect or truck routes through the city. I think you guys are all aware of that, guys and gals, pardon me. I think more could be done here. I think there's a lot of creative solutions. A lot of them were mentioned when we were here back in March on what we could do to kind of calm traffic, slow things down, as well as enhanced enforcement, as John mentioned. So that clearly works when it happens.
Okay.
So I don't know if I answered your question well or not.
You did, thank you.
I have a clarifying question. When I look at UC San Diego or UC Irvine and those nice bridges that go over the streets, or you go to Tokyo and you can cross over, cost tens of millions of dollars to do something like that in Redondo. We're not going to talk about that, but the short-term solution, could we have any private or public litigation against any of the major offenders to kind of call them out, or even against Torrance?
So, my answer would be, as John mentioned, so my neighbor, who has more time than I do, has actually sent a number of local businesses, Smart and Final, Papa John's, Albertsons, and surprisingly, most of those, real businesses have actually responded to him, he can tell you. And I don't generally see a lot of their trucks anymore because they track their trucks.
Nice.
And that's probably one of the best long-term things we can do. And that's why I've not only given him a couple of bottles of champagne and good wine, but, I continue to applaud his efforts. But there's a lot of just miscellaneous trucks going by. Southern California Gas dug a bunch of holes in my street. Apparently there was a gas leak a couple of months ago, which they didn't fill very well, by the way. So, every Monday when that Athens truck goes by with a 27-yard roll-off, delivering it somewhere, they come down Palos Verdes, turn left on Prospect. Happens every week. They're swapping it out somewhere. I don't know what business it is. I haven't followed them yet. It's pretty early in the morning. But it hits that divot in the turning lane on Palos Verdes Boulevard, eastbound. And, it wakes everybody up because it's an empty truck and it bounces up and down 3 times because there's 3 holes in the street. So problem for, for Public Works perhaps. But, just to answer your question anecdotally again, some of these are, folks that probably think they're exempt. They're, Waste Management, Athens, when they're picking up trash, they're allowed to drive their big trucks down my street. They're not going through the neighborhood, right?
I have one comment briefly. I had a Athens truck going by one of the elementary schools and blocking traffic and potentially in a pedestrian lane, and we contacted Athens and they were willing to work with us with the city. So Chuck and Andrea at the city are great to work with. So keep at it, because waking up in the morning like that sounds like something out of my cousin Vinny. Anyway, thank you, Chair. Thank you.
My cousin Vinny, that's great. Clarifying question? Okay.
You can't get a meeting with the chief?
Well, meeting is a strong
hold on.
word. So after the
Hold on,
Public
hold on.
Works Commission.
Hold on. Clarifying question. We can't engage. So what's the clarifying question here?
That's clarified. He indicated that there was a meeting for the chief. My clarifying question was, had a meeting with the chief, I'd like to know when was that?
Okay, that's more specific. Your question was
Well,
just,
I
okay.
wanted to clarify that that's what he said first, before I followed up with the question to that.
Okay. I just don't want it to get yelled at by the city clerk, so appreciate it. I just don't want us to get yelled at by the city
No,
clerk.
I
So appreciate it.
understand
Okay,
Okay, you've indicated, let me rephrase,
please, thank you.
okay? And I apologize if it seems that I'm talking down to you. You have indicated that you have talked to the chief of police. Okay? In clarification for that, you're speaking to the chief of police, I'm curious to see as to when you spoke to him, approximately the date, okay? And in essence, was this, and specifically, this issue was addressed and his response to that?
So to clarify, we didn't have a formal meeting with the chief, didn't request one. We happened to run into him. I think he met us in the lobby after one of the Public Works Commission's meetings in the springtime, which again, I was very appreciative of, that he took the time to stop after the meeting and speak with us. And we asked him several questions, such as, you know, what can we do as citizens? Do you need more resources? Or, you know, what do you need from us? Can we partner together to try to solve this problem? That's where questions like the signage came from. You know, if there isn't proper signage, they can't write citations. So I don't know why that hasn't been solved in 9 months. That's a simple thing to do. So I don't know if that answers your
So
question.
clarification, there was not a requested sit-down meeting. In
Correct.
essence, it basically was an anecdotal.
Completely by happenstance ad hoc discussion in the lobby of,
lobby. Okay.
I think right out here, actually.
And did he offer any type of resolution to this in any way, shape, or form? Or was
No.
it just you giving him information?
Yeah, it was
As opposed to
basically,
him indicating,
basically he asked some clarifying questions and we provided our kind of our input on that. And
what, do you recall what the clarifying questions were? He said, he
well,
indicated,
so short answer, no, but it had to do with,
okay,
you know, how often does this happen? What do you think we can do about it? You know, and really it was more us asking him, what can we do to partner with the city to solve this problem?
all right, great, thank you.
I didn't, did
Yes.
answer your question.
Yes.
Commissioner Esquiva, anything? Anything for you?
I'm fine.
I'm okay. All right, thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Any e-comments or I'm sorry, any other comments from the public?
Oh,
If you could state your name.
Good evening, Bill Zarenheim. Thank you. Thank you for volunteering.
hey, real quick, I just found a feature on here that puts a timer up, and I'd like to
Go
give
for
it a
it.
shot.
I will ask for an
Excited
extra
about this?
extended time.
I was
This is
using my
super exciting.
phone, and it stressed me out. I didn't know this existed.
So
Is it
Bear
up
with
there?
me. Hold on.
Ooh,
Oh.
this is fancy. Fancy pants.
Proceed.
Proceed.
I'm thrilled. I'm just saying.
First of all, I just want to apologize. I actually had a bunch of stuff to print out for you guys, but in the 7.5 years I've been here, I have yet to be able to come to City Hall and be able to print what I need to do right away. So stuff is sitting on my laptop back there. And now I have a new problem that I've never had before. So I'll be emailing you all the documents that I was supposed to be giving you. There's some long, I'm going to email them anyways, but if I can get it figured out before you guys are done, I will come out here and get it to you guys. So with that said, there was a motion last April that was made regarding the county fire study and the whole fire department, and that was to have the fire study, the third-party independent study from Citygate, come to you guys. And actually supposed to go to a bunch of other commissions as well, budget and finance. So if you're looking for things to do, there's a lot of things in there. I have a bunch of questions in there, things for you to follow up on regarding HR costs and legal costs, and what recommendations were there and needed to be implemented, what questions you may have had in the county fire study. And the third-party study, the Citygate study, is the important one. There was actually 3 or 4 parts to that study that Citygate had, including fire stations and personnel, equipment, and shift hours and level of service. But more importantly, May of 2023, there was a motion made to have you guys be involved in the fire department review. And again, that didn't happen either. So it really concerns me that these kind of things haven't happened. I looked at your past prior studies. And also there was a study for our 911 system as well that was included. And I'll be including that in all those notes that you guys can go over and look at and bring back and read, because these are items you're supposed to be discussing as a body here. Last year, and what I mean last year, last budget year, so a year ago last June, Councilmember Lowenstein and I funded an emergency coordinator position in the fire department. That has not been filled to this day. And it doesn't make me happy that it's filled at all. It's been a year and a half now, almost a year and a half, basically a year and a half. And that could be used as a liaison, like other cities like Santa Monica does and Culver City does, to the Public Safety Commission. It's actually very, very important. So I want to let you know, start to report to you guys to keep you guys informed. Also, as you know, Measure FP just passed. There's going to be a bond discussion on that. There's going to be requirements on that. There's really no plans or thoughts of what we're going to be doing with our police and fire stations. So I think you guys would be an integral piece of that. So yeah, in 10 seconds, I'll need it.
I got you.
Regarding some issues, to keep you guys updated on issues that are happening in District 1, since you guys aren't getting reports. This is actually very important.
1 sec. Motion to extend.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Start off with, on tomorrow night's consent calendar is an item for Messina Avenue H regarding blocking off on Avenue H and Messina Drive because of the seaside lights. And we're changing a bunch of things. Last year, there was a massive amount of people parking in the neighborhood, preventing emergency services from being able to reach that area. And we're talking absolute gridlock, taking an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours for residents to just be able to drive in there. Can you imagine what would happen with the fire department? I've been working with the fire department chief and to get that sorted out. And hopefully this year we will have an emergency access lane on one of the parking sides so that it will be free for emergency services. PV Boulevard, you just heard, I sat down with the residents there for 2.5 hours the other day. When it comes to the question of what can be done, a lot can be done. There's not actually proper signage yet. So when you guys talk about these things, you can talk about it. It's not just that you're here on behalf of the city council, you're here to do deep dives on these issues. And if you want to report something back to, say, the Public Works Commission for signage, what the signage is because there's no proper signage right now coming in from Torrance. Speaking of Torrance, it's been very tough, I'll just say, to get a hold of Torrance city council members on this issue. That's the way I would like to put it, is very, very tough. I've got one that I'm talking to, we're gonna set up a meeting. The other ones, it's been quite elusive. Project Moonstone is a big deal in District 1, and I realize that the elected city attorney is the point person for all things homelessness. But, and therefore I don't want to speak for anything regarding homelessness, and because the elected city attorney is actually the one in charge of all of this, made himself the point person. But there was just another recent police PD call just outside of Moonstone, I'm sure you've heard. And to go over those two, there was actually 2 police calls in recent weeks. One was a man with a knife, and that was followed up on by our police department right here. And they showed up, and that person, I believe, I talked to the police chief just the other day, and that person was given a citation to show up to court for assault with a deadly weapon, or brandishing a deadly weapon, I believe. So that is a misdemeanor charge, and it will be going through the city attorney or district attorney's office, unless it doesn't get charged, and then we can go forward on that. But the other issue is I just got emailed last night or yesterday over the weekend regarding Project Moonstone, and there was another officer incident there. I believe from what I got notified by the police chief, there was a traffic stop and there was narcotics found, and the citation was issued, and their officers did follow up on that. So that was the call last night. It was not directly from the Project Moonstone location. Attendance, issue with attendance was brought up via email. We're talking about tomorrow night on the city council on.
Motion to extend.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Tomorrow night, item P5, we have ways for you guys to be able to communicate to the city council. So be sure to communicate the ways you think you should be able to communicate to us. Send us an email, show up in person. The exact title is Discussion Possible Action on City Commission Meeting Procedures and Methods of Communications with City Council. Item P5. So when it comes to attendance, I know there's been some issues with attendance, recording of attendance. And it's a big issue for me because you guys are volunteers, and a lot of people want to be a part of this group, or these groups, I should say. I've been a long time advocate of getting these reports to city council, and it's been a long, tough road. And luckily now I've got some other members of the council who actually see the value in that as well, proper reporting. Just so everyone knows, it's the responsibility of the city clerk's office to give us that report. We haven't been getting that report. And the city clerk is an elected city official. So keep that in mind. That's all I have for you. If you have any further questions or clarifying questions on these items, let me know. Otherwise, have a good night.
I have a question.
question?
What's the issue you think with hiring that position, the liaison position? Like it's been open for a year
City
and a half.
managers told me that they need to create through the HR department they actually need to physically create the position with the responsibilities and requirements, basically. I personally don't think it's gonna take that particularly long time. It's mostly just paperwork. It's mostly just an item. I think it's more comes down to the ability, hey, we have an extra $150,000 to $140,000 been allocated to personnel, and they can move that money around to where they want. For instance, last year, they only budgeted $350,000 towards overtime when our normal overtime is between $2 to $3 million. And so that magically went up to $800,000 as per the Citygate report, which actually showed the financial data on that. So that's actually one of the things I wanted to have you guys look at more in the overtime in fire department. Are we staffed enough in our overtime? And are they using these positions to backfill their overtime? And this is a big deal, you know? Harbor Patrol is not staffed properly, and neither is 911 Center staffed properly for proper amount of 24 hours a day, 7 days a week service. It requires overtime. So,
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
I have a question. Can you clarify, you commented that it was about the responsibility of the city clerk, that you were looking for information from them and now they provided it, exactly what that is and how long it's been that you haven't received the information you were expecting that you requested?
Yeah, so perfect. Let me clarify that for you. So I got, through many years ago, we were never being given attendance reports by the city clerk's office. Through a long, arduous process, we were supposed to now get quarterly reports from the city clerk's office on the attendance reports. Excused, unexcused absences. And in reading actually some of the comments and ideas here, I think I'm gonna start asking for, when we excuse absences on the city council agenda, to have an email and show physically when and why they asked for these excusals, because I don't want backdating. And the biggest problem is backdating. And lately it's been good, but we haven't been getting the overall report. So we'll get our excused absence report. We excuse that, we approve that. But what we don't get is a report saying XYZ member has been absent or for 3 times or 4 times or all of these as a whole, right? Or not absent at all, had perfect attendance, you know? Planning Commission has perfect attendance, for instance. So we haven't been getting that report for a long time. We just got one here a few weeks ago. I think it was in October. I want to say the first time in 6 months or 8 months, a year, I want to say. And that's a problem because we don't know when the city charter clearly says if someone is missing X amount of time, city council shall remove that person from the thing. It's in the city charter. We don't even get a choice on this. A lot of people don't understand the word shall is used. It's mandatory. Don't get a choice. So it's important. Yeah. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Yes. A couple of things kind of for clarification, in that you indicated that some of the things you would like us to look at.
Yeah.
But along the same lines, you've also indicated that as a city council person, that there are things that you are not given or the policies and procedures are not followed.
Yeah.
Okay. I would venture to say that that also applies to us. So my concern would also be is that when we've requested information and staff, whether this commission or any other commission I've been a part of, that when staff opts not to do something, it doesn't get done.
Yeah.
Okay? So my concern is going to be, is for clarification, is that the understanding is that we don't have the authority to sit there and subpoena anything or anything else like that. Is the council willing to sit there and as well as to listen to us a little more? Or do we have to constantly send notes indicating we've requested this and this organization declined to visit with us, or this person is too busy to do this, okay? Or as I think I'm finding a lot within the city is that we're too busy to help you. So in essence, what I don't want to get into, and I think sometimes what can occur with us, is that you're asking us to take on things, which I have no problem in doing that. I think all of us would. But the frustration level goes such as that if we're not going to accomplish anything, we're just going to fight with people. Why are we here? So my concern is going to be is how much of the other council people are going to be committed to be able to assist us in enforcing so that we can at least get clarification on what we're doing.
So, yeah, so there's a lot there. So I'll just unpack that with saying, I'm here to support you guys. That's why I'm here. I mean, I try to keep tabs on all the commissions and call up and follow on somebody on one of the commissions. I talk to at least, one of the commissions, two or three of the commissions per month and just say, hey, what's going on over there? I can tell you, I fully support you guys. I can't speak for the rest of the city council or the mayor. We had some change up on how things are done, probably for the better, we'll see. And if not, I'm more willing to change it, right? I'm here till March. So when it comes to what you guys are asking for, I don't know, and city council doesn't know, we don't get a report from city staff or anyone that says what was asked for. So it would probably be best to have, listen, just so you guys know, you guys all have city email addresses. I fought really hard for you guys to be able to get that. So you can send us an email and say, hey, listen, this is what we requested the other night, or we requested this 6 months ago, we didn't get it. And you can put on here just a letter, once a quarter, and saying, we'd like to do a letter to the city council, I'd like to meet and talk about it. It doesn't take any staff any time. Just agendize that. You guys can put together a letter, say what you want to stay on there once a quarter. It'll go to the consent calendar and say, hey, we just want to put this on the consent calendar so the city council and the public knows all the great work that we're doing and what we're asking for, what we're being helped with and moving forward on, help you with. I see you guys as the most valuable asset in order to get things done, to do deep dives on certain issues, which we don't have time for. We spend a lot of time every month being city council members, and city council nights tend to be long. So I can tell you that I fully support you guys, and I want to get you guys ahead. I know there's one other city council member up there who definitely does support you, but I couldn't speak for any more. We haven't really had a major discussion on that, but I will bring that up tomorrow night about regarding, they ask for stuff. Hey, you might just be advisory. Advisory is extremely important because you help us make decisions. We got advised by the city charter committee. The city charter committee made some great advisements, and we did some fantastic charter changes because of it. So, advisements is very powerful. And to understand when you do a deep dive on a particular subject, you can come back with facts and information that we don't. And then the last thing I'll just say, Gil, is I don't want you guys to just take the staff report and just regurgitate from the staff report. You're taking here as a first line, information from the residents to dissect what's in here and ask questions. That's why you're here. I wasn't hired by the residents, voted by the residents to just simply rubber stamp things. I was hired by the residents to actually ask questions and pull things from consent calendar and say, hey, make sure, are we doing this correctly? And is there a better way? And I'll tell you, a lot of commissions, be the public, other commissions like Planning Commission have asked a lot of questions, made things, the projects way better. So I fully agree with the sentiment that you have to let us know, and I will support you 110%. And I would highly recommend you guys put a letter together every quarter or so and just let us know what's going on and what you're getting and not getting, and making sure that the letter represents everyone's views, and keep it to the public safety realm of what you're doing with public safety. Right.
Thank you.
Appreciate your answer. And I would just add, we don't want to get ahead of P5 because I think P5 will in large part address what you're asking, right? How do we communicate to you? How do we talk to you directly, so forth and so on? But that's the crux of the clarification as well. So appreciate it, Councilman Aaron. Any other questions? No. Thank you for your time. And we look forward to, I don't know that we can pre-motion to receive and file.
I'll see if I can get it. I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
All right.
It's kind of just unbelievable.
I can imagine. Thank you. Any other key comments or emails?
No, and no Zoom participants.
All right. Any items continued from previous agenda? Item I?
No.
Now we're on item J, items for discussion prior to action. We have one item, discussion of crime recap, community policing volunteers.
Okay. I have some stuff to share with you guys on this. Number one is a press release from a fatal traffic collision. In addition to, I'm going to come back to your, your crime recap here in a second. In addition to that, I want to read this press release regarding a fatal collision. Excuse me. Dated October 28th, 2024. On October 27th, 2024, at approximately 3:14 a.m., an incident occurred involving a vehicle that was traveling southbound in the 300 block of North Pacific Coast Highway in the city of Redondo Beach. A male passenger in his early 20s exited a rear door from that moving vehicle for unknown reasons, causing him to impact the roadway, which resulted in traumatic injuries. That passenger was treated by Redondo Beach Fire paramedics and transported to a local hospital in critical condition with life-threatening injuries. 2 additional occupants were inside the vehicle at the time of the incident. The driver, a 22-year-old from the city of San Pedro, or Los Angeles, was evaluated and subsequently arrested at the scene on suspicion of driving under the influence of alcohol and/or drugs. Members of the Redondo Beach Police Department's traffic fatal accident investigation team responded to the scene and conducted a thorough investigation. Both directions of Pacific Coast Highway between Diamond Street and Carnelian Street were temporarily closed for the investigation and reopened at 7:30 a.m. on Sunday morning. The investigation is ongoing. Anyone that may have witnessed, has video, or any information regarding this incident is encouraged to contact traffic investigator Bijan Persaheli at 310-379-2477, extension 3862. If you'll notice, one of the items in your Part 1 crime report is 10851 PC, stolen vehicle. So that's stolen vehicle. There was a recent issue with Kias and Hyundais being stolen because there was some sort of TikTok trend that exposed a vulnerability to their systems that allowed for theft. One of our patrol officers went out of his way and contacted Hyundai themselves, and they are going to deliver us 120 free wheel locks, which would be kind of like the clubs, as an additional safety measure for us to hand out to the community for people with those types of vehicles. And then on the community policing report, we had our Halloween event and our domestic violence candlelight vigil the last weekend of October. It was well attended. They are both great events. Typically, it was extremely challenging to compete with Game 1 and Game 2 of the World Series, which the Dodgers subsequently won later on. So the attendance was a little bit down, but we still got good engagement for both events. Today we did a scam prevention presentation at the Redondo Beach Women's Club and had another graduating class memorial run at the Orange County Sheriff's Academy with 3 additional recruits that just passed the academy. Upcoming events will be at the Northrop Grumman Employee Appreciation Event. We'll be doing a meet and greet on Wednesday at Toledo Elementary with some younger students. Girl Scout Station Tour on the same Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Our very famous Let It Snow Redondo, December 7th, snow at the beach. And then a career day at Alta Vista Elementary after that. Class 50 of the Citizens Police Academy graduates on the evening of Friday the 13th. Ooh. And that'll be here in the City Council chambers. Other commissioners have attended. We wanted to give you a wink on that. He's attended a graduation. There are graduates here. 1, 2, there we go, 3. All right. So something to show support for that program. Our volunteer hours are up to 3224 for the year to date under the categories you see in our VIP report. All of these, I would like to add, documents have been updated with, or these documents that I create have been updated with the new city logo.
All right, all right.
So it was extremely challenging, but I was able to overcome that challenge. After some substantial Googling, I'm not a super techie guy on that. Any questions regarding item J1?
Commissioner Escantria, any questions? Commissioner Skiba?
Do we know yet when the volunteers in policing might come here to speak with us?
Right now, I have successfully, not 100% confirmed, but it looks like I've successfully lined up VIP presentation for discussion items for our December meeting.
Great, okay.
And then I will be outreaching to Lila Omura for an update and city council, kind of like what just happened, but more officially. We went a little rogue there on the public comment section, but that's okay.
It was a non-agenda item.
The outreach to city council as well and following meetings based on just their availability and timing, et cetera. So yes, it looks like we're gonna successfully schedule for our
Great.
December 16th meeting.
That's great, great. Also, what about your run, hide, fight presentation?
Yes, I haven't quite pulled the trigger on that quite yet. I do want to do it because I felt very successful. We're gonna do, in the works of planning, kind of a, so to speak, coffee with a cop, so to speak, but with our social worker clinicians, called Cookies with the Clinician. So that's a new event, so that's kind of got my focus right now, as well as all the lead-in prep to Let It Snow and our Santa Sleigh detail and so on. So I'm just a little swamped, but I'm hoping like after December 14th, like my life will drastically improve, and then I'll start firing off. We do have, I missed it on here because when I wrote the agenda, I hadn't confirmed the location yet, but we do have a blood drive at the library on January 9th. So if each and every one of you could sign up and donate blood, that would be outstanding. I'm going for, my record is 45 units with the Red Cross right now. That put me in third, and I was only 1 or 2 units behind the first place for a local drive. And I'd like to win. So I'd really like to win. So if you guys sign up, I got 66 appointments available, 58 bags to fill. They do some sort of algorithm that doesn't match the bags to the appointments, but 58 bags to fill. Please donate blood January 9th at the second floor of the library. I can make you an appointment if you'd like. But I look to pursue that and the Run, Hide, Fight seminar the second week of December or so.
Great. Okay.
Fingers crossed.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, any uptick in drilling into cars lately with trends and stuff? Just looking
Like
at
the method of entry?
Yes.
That is a tactic. I haven't seen it as much, I haven't heard or seen it as much lately. Like a punch lock you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of cars being attempted for theft and so on and so forth, whether it's taking the stuff out of the car or just taking the car itself. Seems a little bit above normal, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, it is very common, like the phishing, just because it's so much easier to leave your car unlocked with the remotes, I think, or accidentally unlock it, or push a button, or you think you push the button on the car that locks it. So there's a lot of vehicle phishing because theft from motor vehicles is a misdemeanor, not felony. There are certain elements have to be met for it to be a vehicle burglary. And then auto theft has also been slightly, like, the seriousness is like considered somewhat, it's still a Part 1 crime, but I think the seriousness with which it's taken has waned a little bit in the last few years. There's you wouldn't think it would apply, but the value for grand theft, not grand theft, has come into play on occasion. Embezzled vehicles versus actual outright stolen vehicles. But one way we're getting a lot of them back is the ALPR cameras, which is kind of not new, but
Nice.
They're becoming more and more prevalent all over. And we're getting a lot of hits that way, so.
When can you take more enforcement action with Prop 36 being passed? Does that help at all with stuff?
Yes, yeah, it will.
Okay.
So prior to Prop 47, I haven't read Prop 36 in its entirety, or
Yeah.
recently haven't.
Yeah.
But the department, it becomes effective immediately, so the department will prep, training material for all the officers. It won't adjust it too much, but we need to be aware, because I believe, speculating based off my memory, is prior to Prop 47, that if there was prior theft convictions and you committed a theft, you would be eligible to be arrested for a felony.
Yeah.
And then I believe they are doing this, they're basically kind of reinstating that. And then additionally, they're going to, if what I read is correct, they're going to do the same with possession, like for personal use charges, like misdemeanor. But if there's prior misdemeanors, then it'll upgrade to a felony. That, yeah, I mean, it'll change things. It's to be seen. I think that's the evolution of over time, is figuring out what's what, and it will have some sort of impact. As we saw, there was a rise in retail theft and organized retail theft when they decriminalized repeated theft.
Yeah.
So, now that it's back, it will change things and, have some sort of effect on the type of crime and the nature of crime and what crimes are popular at certain times.
Thank you.
Are we keeping, I'm sure you guys keep track, like, of time to time, like month to month, yearly, the rates of all the individual types of crime, correct?
Yeah, so like we have pretty comprehensive like crime stats like on our website. And they'll track all the Part 1 crimes, and then Part 2 crimes are all the remaining that aren't on the Part 1 list. And like crime maps, et cetera. And they prepare information. It's all on our website page. I can send you a link if you want.
Okay.
You can review it. But yeah, they look at it. I mean, every staff meeting with admin, they're reviewing the crime stats and et cetera. It's not my personal wheelhouse at the department, what they do, how they modify certain things, or what kind of direct enforcement they do. But that, each unit handles their stuff, and then patrol obviously has responses as well within the scope of what they're able to based on calls for service, et cetera.
Are we all on your newsletter?
I believe so.
Right.
Has everyone been getting
At the bottom.
my newsletter?
He has a link. Well, I was just
Yes.
going to let him know at the bottom of your
Oh, yeah,
newsletter.
in the email
Mhm.
signature,
The run
should be.
from Corinne.
Yes.
Okay.
Green is my colleague,
Yes.
so she helps me do stuff. I wish she worked full-time. That's how much
She's
I'd
amazing.
like to just,
And your
but
jokes.
she does do a lot of work that helps me greatly because I need it.
Well, just,
Well,
it's
this
just,
new law,
Hang
Sorry.
one sec,
Oh, I'm
Commissioner
sorry.
Skiba. Wait. Finish your-
sorry, but just my last comment was just, I mean, it's just interesting, all these things are decided based on perception, but it's like, are these interventions working, right? Like, we changed it now, and like, what is the rates of, are these things dropping? Like, because they were dropping in the last year as well, right? Like a lot of these type of crimes. So I'm just curious, like, at least now that we've passed a legislation and we can prospectively see, what the effects are.
I mean, yeah, ideally I think it'll work.
But if you check the stats now, you'll see the baseline.
And there's
Yeah,
certain,
at least we can at least see instead of just deciding based on perception all the time.
yeah, there's,
Yeah.
I think it's always been like there was a lot of talk when marijuana first became a misdemeanor,
Yeah.
and
it goes
then
back
when it
and
first
forth.
became just an
Yeah.
infraction, and then now it's essentially in a lot of ways not a crime, aside, or more like alcohol. Like there's crimes related to it, but it's not in and of itself criminal. So things just change over time, and people adapt. And just as a personal note, like I'm all for rehab and rehabilitation when it comes to drug type crimes, like
Yes,
just
yeah.
from a personal standpoint. I have family that struggles with that and stuff, but they are like, okay, so let's try this, right? Prop 36, way back was, hey, do you want a felony possession charge or do you want to go to rehab?
Yeah.
And they see how that works. And rehabs were very pro that because they were able to get
Of course, yeah.
people directed to them that they maybe wouldn't have an opportunity to try and help on other occasions. And then obviously eventually Prop 47 made it all a misdemeanor. So people were like, okay, I don't necessarily have to avoid a felony conviction by going by accepting some sort of
That's
rehab
interesting.
services. They'll just take a misdemeanor and be fine with it. So it's all just, these, politicians, et cetera, smart academics, and they all get together and study it, and they have people they answer to that they want to, they are politicians still, so there's that aspect to it. But
Yeah.
I think generally everyone's trying to do something to make it good, and some ideas work and some don't.
Commissioner Skiba?
So will this law now affect what constitutes grand theft? Will it change?
I don't know the intimate, I don't remember. I read it, and then it stays in there for a little while, and then as more stuff goes in, it slowly seeps out. But I do know that they've reinstated like the multiple arrests and prior convictions would make a crime they commit in the moment that would be a rise to a felony. I don't know if they've changed the values for theft or grand theft. I don't know. I would have to look again. Gil's shaking his head. Maybe it might be that's not the case.
Do they still have the 3 strikes law?
Yes, yeah.
They do. Okay. All righty then. At least there's a new DA in Los Angeles.
Correct, yeah. So those are county specific, like certain, I wouldn't say laws, but like initiatives that were created in LA County's District Attorney Office by a previously elected DA couldn't be changed. Some were even changed in office. So there was an initiative about never charging someone as an adult, and then there was a certain case that they made an exception for because of the circumstances that I recall. So yeah, but that would be county specific,
Right.
not necessarily like a state law or something like that.
Thank you. Item K, member items and referrals to staff. I understand we have a ton, so we'll start at my right. Commissioner Escantria.
Yeah, I think that in kind of, in lieu of what Councilman has indicated, as well as the idea that the individuals who came today have been here quite a bit. And it seems to me that my understanding is that they're kind of obviously not happy. What I would like to do is possibly make a referral to the council, that the council make a recommendation to the chief of police, the chief, not staff member, not command staff, that he meet with these individuals to be able to formulate a plan of some sort, to be able to look at this issue and determine how it can be addressed. My concern is that John is getting a letter saying, yeah, we'll help you, we'll do everything, and then suddenly 2 weeks later, for whatever reason, suddenly somebody's telling him, we're not going to do it, and we're not going to talk to you. And the issue that I'm seeing here is that either there's a disconnect within the police department or within units within the police department.
Well, there's more information to that.
Yeah.
Possibly.
So what is
I
the
mean, I have it.
referral?
I'll show it to you if you want. But
Then fine, okay. But the thing was, the last time when we asked for that particular study, we were told we couldn't get it. Yet he then
Oh, that's right.
did an open records request, and got it. So I don't understand how that can occur. I read it, and then when we asked for that information to be able for clarification, was told no. My concern is this, is that this has been dragging on for a year. And I think that somehow that there's a disconnect, that I think someone has to sit down who has the authority to make a decision to how it's going, and not this little, it would appear to me a little more of fiefdoms between traffic, between patrol, between quality of life, and everybody, there's a disconnect. I would make a recommendation that we set off to the city council, that they request that the chief of police sit with these individuals and to be able to formulate a plan and to be able to kind of look at this situation a little more thoroughly. So if there is more to it, that then it comes out and they're able to look at it. I think more so on the level of transparency. Because if there's more to it, then we should have all gotten that information so that we don't go off halfway. That is my recommendation.
So I would say like a motion for like an advisory statement from Public Safety Commission
To the city council,
to City Council and City Manager.
city manager making a recommendation to the chief of police that a meeting with the chief of police, okay, I'm gonna be very specific, with the chief of police and whatever entities are required with that. The delegation of responsibility, I
Wait,
think,
say that again?
to the chief of police, that the chief of police meet
With,
with these individuals in the community.
okay.
Because again, I understand him talking to him in the hallway, that's fine. But I think that in passing, I think that somehow in people that I have talked to don't feel that it's been,
And by that, you mean like the ones that made appearances here, obviously.
or the 36 other people that live in that community. That would be my recommendation.
Do I, or
Yeah, before you write,
you can call for, I don't want to call for a second.
We're calling for a vote on,
You'd call it
in a
like,
second.
yeah,
I'll second it.
there you go.
do we have a roll call vote?
Sorry, one sec, I'm
Oh.
still writing, sorry.
The details of what's in there, how do you bring that up?
Oh, he's gonna write it, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
give a whole thing.
But the group of us will have some input on the details of how it's written.
Yes.
We will do a roll call vote. Commissioner Wadnicki,
Yes.
Commissioner Skiba,
Aye.
Commissioner Escontrias,
Aye.
Commissioner Kleinbaum,
Aye.
Commissioner Gall,
Aye.
Commissioner Gupta,
Aye.
and Chair Carmack.
No.
The motion passes in favor.
At least it's an interesting vote.
That's, that action is a little easier for me because I can prepare a document and push send,
Mhm.
like advisory action like that.
Yeah.
Or quicker to be done.
See, the problem, my no is qualified, like we didn't get input on the bits and pieces, which is what you.
I just have a question.
There can be
So-
discussion, like
Yeah,
after a
I
motion
would,
and a
I would much
second.
rather it to be a discussion item,
But,
especially if it's
So
speaking
I
on behalf
So should
of,
there be a discussion prior to the vote?
yes.
so
That's how it was
motion
supposed
for
to
an
be.
agenda item, discussion item on the agenda regarding,
Yes,
yeah.
and that I agree with.
Would someone like to make a substitute motion?
Substitute motion.
I seconded.
That's fine.
Okay,
Well,
yeah, no, I think you agree, yeah, to discuss, and then the full rest of that motion.
Is it possible to receive the document that,
We would craft it together,
no,
Oh.
the document that Mr. Pershland had
Oh.
put together first?
yes.
The one that we had requested in the
You
beginning?
can say
don't-
no.
I
You
don't
can
have
say
it.
no.
Didn't he hand it to you?
No, he gave
No.
us a separate document.
Oh,
He did a PRA request.
no, that
for
one
the-
also, but also the document that he handed to you.
Oh, yeah, we did a motion to receive
Oh,
that on
yes.
that already.
But we'll
I'm
get that
sorry,
before our
I forgot
discussion.
about that.
Correct.
An
Yes,
updated
I will
version.
attach it to the agenda,
Great, thank you.
yes.
Okay.
But yes,
So the substitute motions for discussion item RE, the traffic issues at PV and Prospect
yes,
and potential advisory action.
yes, it would be under items for discussion prior to action.
Yes,
Yes,
that would be under item J.
item J.
And someone seconded that, right?
I did.
Well, that, we've
Oh,
heard the
no, he
motion.
did. Kleinbach.
Kleinbach.
I did.
Second, okay. Sorry, let me write that down.
That's right, right.
The butler did it.
I've noticed that if my notes are too short, I think I'm gonna remember it the following month. And then I have to do a deep dive. So I've changed my note writing style.
Detail.
Oh, good.
There's also a recorded YouTube video.
I was gonna say that. You can like fast forward right to that part. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it.
Roll call vote, Commissioner Wadnicki,
Aye.
Commissioner Skiba,
I,
Commissioner Escontrias.
Aye.
Commissioner Kleinbaum,
Aye.
Commissioner Gall,
Aye.
Commissioner Gupta,
Aye.
and Chair Carmichael.
Aye.
That motion passes.
So is the discussion right now or in subsequent meeting?
No, I put it on the
And
agenda.
that's subsequent.
Okay.
So it could be like literally next month.
Okay.
And
Can I
for me, I think we
propose-
just tailor it. I love the premise, so don't hear me saying no to that. Just want to make sure we.
So then when it comes up on the agenda, you guys can talk about it,
Can I, sorry,
all the different things.
can I propose maybe we just invite like those people here and the chief of police here and we talk about it
That's
as
part
a
of the
meeting?
discussion. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that would be part of the discussion.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can continue and stuff. Referrals for staff.
Any more for you?
Fine.
All right, Commissioner Skiba?
yeah, I would like to make a motion that we invite Mike Wodzinski here to come and speak with us and update us on what's going on with the city and, you know, whatever the new developments are, and so we can ask questions and get more information.
Update,
Can I amend
state of the city.
your motion?
To what?
Yeah.
Yes. What? Oh,
You can
because it
make
has
an
to be.
amended motion or a substitute motion.
Okay. I'd like to make a substitute motion to invite Wazanski here to speak on the state of the city as well as the budgeted, the approved, the adopted budgeted items that are under the header of public safety. And I can be very specific on those if you need.
Can I add a substitute to that too?
Yes.
And you can say no, but in the event it takes 6 months to get him to this meeting, a member of the city staff, just to get someone in the door that's knowledgeable on these topics to come and do what Councilmember Nierenheim did, which took 7 years to do. We have never had a council person here, ever. So,
You should have saw me in Skiba
Yeah.
last week.
yeah,
We
it
moved
was,
the council.
we did great.
We did
But
really good.
whatever we want to vote on, but I would just recommend that we add a little bit of a backup plan. Thank you.
So I'll make a substitute motion adopting your language. And if you give me just 1 second, I do have them specifically called out. So it is, one moment.
AI does help.
Oh, not that email. It would be the, not that one. Where are you? I wrote this whole long, now I can't find the document. Session, motion to add guest. Okay, yeah. City manager for the adopted budget.
State of the city.
This housing director for update on Project Moonstone and housing. The police department around domestic violence advocacy program, and other programs, the police department, for the fire department, emergency medical services, supplies and training. All members of the different staff are on the budgeted, the adopted budget. This is what they're assigned to do for 2024 or 2025. This is what they're being paid to do. And the budget has a section saying these are related to public safety. We want those folks, and if we have to make this a discussion item so we can get those specifics on the record and then make the recommendation, I'd like to amend and amend it that way. So we say, not just Wazansky coming here, but all members of the city who represent this, who represent that, who represent that, who represent that.
These would be on different evenings. and-
Correct, yeah, they wouldn't be on the same night. Yeah, oh, yeah, but
Yeah.
we got 12 months, so let's spread them across, but they're all responsible for something in
Right.
2025.
Okay, let's try to start with Sansky.
Yeah, so, and they're being paid based on the budget that was adopted by the city council and the mayor to accomplish those things in 2025. So getting the update on like the sewer technology so it doesn't explode and all those, there's a whole thing. So if we can make that a discussion
Should these be
item,
separate motions, do you think?
it would be one, to have a discussion prior to action of inviting members of city staff to report out on their areas of responsibility that impact public safety.
Oh. Say that again.
Oh, that,
It sounded real
That's-
good. Hold on.
that's different from what I was proposing.
Very concise.
It's the same, because we're inviting Mike to report out on things that are going on in the city.
Mhm.
What we're saying is, since it may take Mike 800 years to get here himself, we're expanding that invitation to all members,
Include.
to include
Okay.
all members of city staff
Okay.
who are responsible for an item on the adopted 2025 budget, their area of responsibility, and on that budget, each department has, this is what I want to accomplish by area, and some of them say by public safety. So so that's the motion. I want to invite members of city staff.
I thought we were having a discussion item. The thing you said about
Yes.
the discussion item was really good.
Yes, that's what I want to say. That's the motion.
Do you remember exactly what it was?
Hold on.
Just rewind it on the.
Discussion
Discussion
item.
To
Motion for
invite
discussion item prior to regarding
regarding
Next time when we talk.
inviting city staff. Wait,
Yeah.
regarding inviting city manager and city staff
No, I understand.
To present on items in the 24-25 fiscal budget that pertain to public safety.
Nice.
You're welcome.
We're gonna get there, we're gonna get there.
I just need to have ChatGPT up here.
What was Sansky here
Oh,
once
sorry.
before? Maybe he'll-
Here's
Sansky
what I'm
came here
thinking.
once before.
Make me sound
So
great.
maybe he will.
So if you could that motion, oh, let me let you write it down, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Chair, do you hear a second? You can say that too if you want.
I second it.
You would say that.
Oh, do I have a second?
I second it.
Carmichael, seconded by Commissioner Skiba. Commissioner Wadnicki,
Aye.
Commissioner Skiba,
Aye.
Commissioner Escontrias, Commissioner Kleinbaum,
Aye.
Commissioner Gall,
Aye.
Commissioner Gupta.
Aye.
And Chair Carmichael.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Commissioner Skiba, any more?
I was thinking, I wonder if it would be a good idea to make a motion to also invite Eugene Solomon, the city treasurer, to
Fall
come.
into the same thing.
Well, It's not exactly the same though, is it?
Yeah, it is. He's definitely in
Because
that
he's-
scope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where the prioritization would come in, into discussion.
It may be overlapping.
I
I
think
would
it
think
is
so.
already.
That was pretty comprehensive.
Okay, but if you can't get someone to come here and talk about the budgeting, then maybe Eugene Solomon would be a good one.
Yeah, you could always see where this goes, and
Yeah,
if it doesn't go
exactly,
anywhere,
yeah.
then take another shot
Yeah,
elsewhere.
okay.
So we're gonna include them in the discussion, I tell you that. All right, thank you. Commissioner Kleinbach?
Okay, is this an opportunity to add items for future discussion on a future agenda?
Will you call for a vote? Yeah, to
Oh,
add
okay,
an
okay.
discussion item for future agendas.
Yeah, I have an item that I'd like to have discussed in a future agenda. So, yeah.
You're up.
All right, okay, so I've noticed, I've observed an increase in juvenile delinquency in the city. And so I would like to have that topic discussed at a future commission meeting.
Discuss how. You want someone to come in? and talk
Oh,
about it?
I'm sorry.
Do you want someone to come in and talk about it, or do you want us to talk about
This
it?
is just a discussion item about
No,
juvenile
I
delinquency.
that's a good question. I don't know. Okay, I don't mind having someone come in and
Just
talk
talk about
about it, but I
juvenile
want to,
delinquency.
as a commission, I want to discuss the subject.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea specifically of what you're asking?
To talk about that, whoever's appropriate, I don't know.
Well,
That
You don't
doesn't
have-
require
You
that,
don't
but
have
it's,
to have
yeah.
somebody,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
I was
guys
just
don't have
asking
to
if
have
you don't
somebody
mind that.
here to
I don't
make a
mind it.
discussion
Yeah.
item that you talk about.
Okay.
Should we have?
So like when we did PV and Prospect, the item, there was a bunch of people here that spoke.
Yep.
But other than that, it was just you guys
Yeah.
talking about PV and Prospect.
So let's do that, let's have
There was
discussion.
people here from
and
the
then-
public,
and
like
then
I didn't
if-
arrange a
Like if
presentation
we
of some
need
kind.
like additional, like,
Yeah.
snap, okay,
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
But should we have historical, like, data presentation, like how many, people who qualify as?
That's good.
I would think that the discussion would allow for that, because specifically, if there's an issue, one particular issue that you're concerned about, it would allow somebody who would have a little more knowledge in that. Because what you're gonna end up having to look at is actually two entities really, actually, a couple entities. One would be the police, okay, in general, a juvenile officer who handles it, or are you talking about a school resource officer who may look at it from a different perspective? And as well as a city attorney's office that generally would file cases of juvenile issues, pre-delinquent or delinquent.
And like you can do work. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
you
no,
can,
no,
like,
I
look up
understand.
a bunch of
Prepare
stuff
and
and then-
maybe, of course.
So if you want to set it for discussion, then.
Yeah, I want to set it for discussion, but I can prepare something to discuss prior
Yeah.
to the meeting, so when I come here, I have something
There's a-
educated to talk about. Yeah,
Yeah.
Great.
no
Okay,
problem.
great.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I can second, oh, sorry,
that's fine.
second. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
We'll let Kyle write it down. And you'll
Second-
give
Sorry, who
notice.
seconded?
Gupta,
Yeah.
Commissioner Gupta. And you'll give,
Feinbaum and Gupta for juvenile delinquency discussion topic. It's just coincidental that some of the prior requests were like a presentation by somebody, but it doesn't have to be that
correct, yeah.
to be a discussion item.
Sure.
Those are easier to fit on an agenda too, because there's
Sure.
not really any scheduling involved. And it would give you a month to like look stuff up and so on. We'll do a roll call vote again. Commissioner Wadnicki,
Hi.
Commissioner Skiba,
Aye.
Commissioner Escontrias,
Aye.
Commissioner Kleinbaum,
Aye.
Commissioner Gall,
Aye.
Commissioner Gupta.
Aye.
Chair Carmichael.
Aye.
So passed.
It's a really good meeting. Commissioner Gupta. Oh, I'm
No,
sorry. you
specific.
finished your comment.
No, that's it, that's fine, that's enough, yeah.
All right, Commissioner Gupta,
No specific items.
Commissioner Gall.
I do have one. I wonder if it would fall under Vice Chair's motion. And one of the things I was reading about was Rancho Palos Verdes and their e-bike ban, or their attempt to ban them. And I don't know what our fines are, but, when you see kids doing wheelies and kind of intimidating seniors, we had a member of our senior community come here and mention that too. What's wrong with $500, $750, $1,000 fines. I mean, I can buy a candy bar now with $500. And I think that would also send a message to parents not to let their kids do that type of stuff. There might be also some discussion on whether we would just prohibit all e-bike riding outright at the beach. Just, not even allow it. I don't know what the punishment would be there, but as a commission, we could probably dig into this and make a recommendation and put some serious money into it and make them think twice about doing things like that. Because whatever it is, $100 or a slap on the wrist is kind of a joke. But anyway, I defer. I do have one other question after this, but for this part, I want to see if this would be something we would want to look into as a commission.
I would want an e-bike update. But yeah,
Can I
I'm
make a
down.
comment?
Yes, you may.
Yeah, I think the comment you made falls under what I want to talk about. It's part of it.
I'd like to add it as a rider, so to
Yeah,
speak.
it's a subset of the
It's a
problem.
subset of
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yep. I would like to study the Utes in detail on this and see what we can do.
We were my cousin Benny all night, aren't we? We were my
Yes.
cousin Benny all night. So,
I think they made an effort to ban them, but I think I don't know what the details are, but
I don't know. Okay, so what's your motion?
my motion is to,
You don't have to make a motion to put something on there if you're satisfied with.
I would like to
It
add
being
this as a subset of Vice Chair Kleinbaum's topic.
Yeah, I just want to make I tried not to be so specific. I wanted to be general, but that's included in what area that I'm interested in. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Great.
All right.
So if there's any material you want, like presented,
Yeah.
You'll give us a heads
just
up
get it to
as-
me before I make the agenda, or I
Yeah.
have to do a blue folder, and it's so challenging
Yep.
for me because I don't have skills. It's easier when I create the agenda, I put it in there
Yep.
than doing the go back. So I think that if Thursday before is like, if you wanted to get some material in there on something, you don't have to, you guys can just talk about it, or if you learn about it offhand and then discuss it.
Yep. Probably be a good
Thursday the 9th,
topic
preferably.
for Q1 with all the other things. Yeah,
You-
probably a
you put
Q1
this,
topic.
Like which month you want to do that in?
Yeah, with all the holidays and stuff. But I wanted
Well,
to
I mean,
ask,
some of these
go ahead.
discussion items are much less challenging
Yeah.
to arrange because they don't involve scheduling with anybody or
Well, the arrangement.
compelling anyone
Yeah,
to.
the arrangement is nice. It's like Kleinbaum wanted to pull some data together. I don't want to just give him 30 days. So if you could say.
Sure, yeah.
Here's how we're spacing out
You
the
could,
agenda.
you could, if you want,
Same thing, but I think, and did not say your name, but I
is there
think-
something you would
Commissioner-
like to discuss more pressingly than,
There we go. So we can do that. 'cause
like,
I
do
think
you want to put
yours
that a
is
little further back?
we need to do that next month. So we can send that letter ASAP.
Right, well, two things actually. My concern
We're
is.
talking, PV and Prospect is
Mhm.
more, yeah, I could put that next month,
My concern
agreed.
is we're not kicking this can down for another year.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we're not doing that. But
Yeah,
we're,
my also concern, I think, maybe is more as a comment, if you would indulge me, is that on some things we would have to look at, I think sometimes we need to do a little research first before we kind of throw it out there.
Mhm.
For example, adding fines to things generally requires sometimes courts being involved in it as well.
Yeah.
Just be careful not to have the discussion now, but
Oh,
I
I'm
hear
not
you.
just
Okay,
making a
okay,
comment.
okay.
So therefore, I think sometimes we have to kind of be aware is that not only is the city limited, but we're also limited as to making record. Because I see that a lot where people say, we ought to fine them $1,000.
Right.
Again, it's for whatever, it sounds good, but to put that in motion is almost an impossibility.
Mhm.
As it is right now, a $20 fine for a vehicle infraction, generally is about $600 after all the court costs. Okay, so everybody piles it on. So sometimes I think that,
It's interesting.
and I understand that sometimes not understanding the criminal justice system or even the justice system as well, it kind of limits us as what we can and cannot do. I think sometimes we will go down a rabbit hole and then it's frustrating when we do that. So I think sometimes when we look at that again, same with the juvenile delinquency, is that sometimes we have to kind of.
This is also, you guys can talk during the discussion item.
I was gonna
and
say-
all those different things.
Exactly, that's what I'm like.
Why don't we hold
And
a
if it's something
discussion?
where you just talk about it for the
Yes.
meeting, it's
Yeah.
very easy to just continue the item.
Right.
Obviously, continuing 10 items will just make our agenda and meetings 5 hours long, but
Yes, that's the other side.
But
That's why I also don't want to pile them on.
After
Within
the
the-
new year.
But after, exactly.
I
So we're
think
going to
that
space
that way
them
gives
out.
you time to do your
Yes.
research and know the
Yes.
topics that you want to discuss
Correct.
more in depth.
did I hear correctly that the PV prospect discussion would be ideally for you guys, more ideal on the December agenda?
Yes, because we can continue it, like it's discussion before taking an action.
Correct.
So that does not mean we're going to take an action, we're going to discuss, because the request is to send a recommendation to the city council. So I don't want to delay that, because that's an action
if you
that we're
want-
actually
yeah.
going to take, where the subsequent ones feel like a discussion, and there may be an action that we
Right.
take, or it may just be education.
For further discussion.
Right. And we can continue any agenda item. So, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. So we're gonna accept that you're 1A.
Yeah.
To, okay.
And other cities have adopted that in the South Bay too. I was reading the article. Unless the journalist doesn't know much about the criminal justice system, maybe I don't, but maybe they do. I don't know. The other question I had was regarding the elections we had. My personal opinion, nobody cares, but I nominate Commissioner Carmichael to be chair and Commissioner Kleinbaum to be vice chair. But if we have to have any repeat of the election, that
No,
was my question.
They said it wouldn't be necessary.
Good.
Unless the whole, we didn't do it right, but unless the whole commission voted to redo the election, I think we're as is right now. That's what I was told at least.
I say congratulations, but that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner was.
I have two things. The first, I'd like to make a motion to invite Public Works to present the data. I know that in the past year, they created a protected left turn at Artesia and Ringe and Artesia and Felton, and maybe other spots along Artesia, I'm not sure. So I'd like to have the data presented on how many accidents occurred in those areas prior to the creation of the protected left turn, and then after, and what types of accidents, to see if it was an effective action in reducing accidents there.
So could your motion be to invite them or get an administrative report?
Correct. Either's fine. Within the next 3 months, to give them time.
I can try to get that.
Okay.
All I need is the date from,
This doesn't require you, like the motion?
it would be police
and then
department
we-
data, like
right.
to get TC reports.
So we're making a motion to request it?
It would be PD data. All I would need to figure that out is the date,
Yep.
with which it was activated.
Okay.
So we're going to make
I
a
have a lot
motion?
right now, like,
We're
you
gonna
just
make
put
a
it on my
motion.
docket so I can leave it there, and then at some point, do you have a general idea of when those got installed?
I believe it's the past year, but I could find out the date for you.
So we're making a motion and we're going to second on the motion. And we're going to either pass or fail the motion, and then you're going to give us an ETA, right? We're not deliberating
Yeah, I
the
don't,
ETA.
well, you'd have to restate the motion, like, it wouldn't be Public Works that would provide the data. I can work on that data. That's something where you could pass a request, just a request for information, and I'll take a run at it, and if I can do it, then I'll just do it and present it in the law enforcement section.
Okay.
Law
So
enforcement update
make your
section.
motion, we'll second,
Okay.
and then we'll discuss. How's that?
Perfect.
Okay.
So then the motion would be for the police department.
Date on the protected left turns.
Protected left turns along Artesia, specifically Ringe and Artesia, Felton and Artesia.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, let's discuss.
Well, you wouldn't do it. You can discuss why you should pass the motion.
Correct, I'm sorry, yes,
Yeah.
we can discuss why we should pass the motion. That's Katrina. I see you.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
Kleinbaum.
I did.
Thank you.
Were you asking, I'm sorry, for accidents or?
She wants the
how it was
stats,
in-
the
in-
before, after.
I'm just curious.
Accident data for those.
Accident data prior to the protected left turn and then after.
All right, Commissioner Kleinbaum.
Yeah, I had a comment. I don't want to get you upset, but, so, because I've been through this before where I've asked for this kind of information. Unfortunately, in many cases, when they put traffic control devices in the city on streets, It's not based on data. It's based on politics or somebody made a request and there's no scientific basis or nobody collected any data and then they'll admit that they didn't do that. And that's terribly wrong, but that's a fact that most of the time that's what happens.
I
It's very
believe the
sad.
city has conducted a lot of studies, it's specifically at Artesia and Ringe, which is why that's the intersection that I'm most concerned about. But yeah, but there's been a lot of fatalities at Ringe and Artesia and at Ringe at Felton in front of Broads. So,
Oh, that's the, oh.
yes,
Yeah, I can see.
you know,
The
for
Taco Bell
almost
intersection.
40 years, that intersection has
Yes.
been problematic.
Yeah.
So now that they've done something, I'd like to see if that action has made any changes in a positive light in that area.
Commissioner Gupta?
Oh, no, I
Commissioner Vaughn?
agree.
I'm gonna vote?
No.
Okay.
Comment, clarifying?
No, none,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. Commissioner Skiba?
This is also a matter of the traffic division, right? Regarding
that's what it-
accidents and all
saying.
that.
Well, I
not
have a
just-
motion after regarding traffic.
Okay.
All right. So, all right, discussion. I feel like the roulette. No, we're back.
Bear with, I got a full page here of stuff to do. Like, this is gonna.
All right, motion has been brought and seconded. Can we get a roll call?
Oh, sorry, yes. Commissioner Wadnicki,
Aye.
Commissioner Skiba,
Aye.
Commissioner Escontrias.
Aye.
Commissioner Kleinbaum,
Aye.
Commissioner Gall,
Aye.
Commissioner Gupta,
Aye.
and Chair Carmichael.
Aye.
So it passes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so I have just one more.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to have a discussion on traffic enforcement, specifically inviting somebody from the police or traffic enforcement to present to us. And I have a list of things that I'd like them to discuss. How many officers are currently assigned to traffic enforcement? How many citations have been issued this year compared to last year? What types of citations are being issued? How many officers are using motorcycles versus cars for enforcement? And what measurable results have we seen? For example, are there fewer accidents, again, particularly on Artesia Boulevard? Specifically, the reason why I'm asking for this is several parts. I know that it was budgeted for 2 additional traffic enforcement officers in the past few years to see if that's made any difference in a positive light, and also to see if initiatives like Drive Slow Redondo and the radar feedback signs, if they're making any positive impact.
All right.
Can we
So
add
make your motion without the why, because we get it.
Well, just
Without the why.
That's like a pretty considerable amount of data.
Well, yeah, and not immediately. It could be in the next 3 months.
Yeah, like I got a lot going on in the next 3 months.
about
Well, let me
Q2?
just
Right.
work with you guys. I'm trying to work with you here. So that would just be a considerable amount of data.
Could we have someone from traffic enforcement make a presentation?
So, and if I'm not able to accomplish the task, like we're only just gonna ask another full-time
Chuck.
employee who's doing a bunch of stuff like I am
Correct.
to complete the task. If it might be easier for me to like break stuff off in chunks, like each meeting that I can present. But some of it is very broad, like it's gonna be like extremely time consuming to gather the data and put it in a presentation form like that for those broader topics. So, and I see where you're going with the prior to, budgeting for 2 additional traffic officers and not, but that might not be as significant because, we budget for 2 and then 2 get injured, so they're off for a considerable amount of time. Like right now, we have one who's been off long-term after his motorcycle accident. So if I could just, as a point of advice, give you an example that was like successful. We asked I got like 60 days of how many citations in a specific area, just how many, like the number of citations and traffic stops and that was, I think, any area that covered the general area that Mr. Persland talks about surrounding PV and Prospect for 60 days, and then another 60-day request for, I think it was e-bike, the number of e-bike stops and citations. Like that's much more doable for our staff, like just little pieces like that. So,
And that's fine, we can make that
I would say-
a recurring agenda item, since it has to be broken up in pieces. And we can just continue it each week and get you.
I
So
would just say like, let me work on, the data regarding Artesia. Cause that's actually like a pretty relevant topic. Like we had a fatal accident at Artesia last year and, let me work on that. Cause that'll be pretty considerable amount of information as well. Just give me a few months to work on that. And then we'll come up with another one after that and another one after that. Right now I'm feeling pretty bogged down with all this stuff.
Here's what we want you to do. We want your heart to lay down on, because I think you are thinking that you have to do everything on that list right now. That's not our request. We are, some of us, full 7 years, some of us 2 years, like, we've got time.
Yeah.
The thing is, we want you to exercise that muscle and saying, okay, this is what the commission, like, so we're gonna motion and vote, but we're not telling you, you have to do it tomorrow.
No,
What
yeah, I
we would-
understand
What
that.
we would like to do is agendize these items, and we will, following Robert's Rules of Order, we will just continue them. Like, if you don't
Yeah,
have
the-
it this week,
The
then
only
that's fine,
issue
we'll
is
do it.
if I place a bunch of stuff on the agenda for discussion and then the bunch of stuff gets continued, and then when I start trying to coordinate people to come, then I want to be respectful of their time. So if they come and there's 30 discussion items prior
Here's the
to.
deal. Here's the deal. We'll help you understand. So initially, it'll go under J, items for discussion.
Right.
If
I-
it does
that
not
I
get, hold on.
understand. I'm
Okay, no,
familiar with that.
no, you have to let me finish. You have to let me finish, because you're pushing back in a way that's coming across a bit like you don't want to do it. And it's
I just
kind of
can't- I
not
just
your.
can't. I don't- it's not that I want to
But
or
that's,
not.
it's not your place to say whether or not you can do it when we're making a motion to approve. Like, that's not your place to say whether or not you can do it. So
Sure.
we're giving you the out because there's item I, which is items continued from a previous agenda. No action has to be taken on an item that is continued. It doesn't sit in J. So when you say there's a mounting list for discussion, it's a discussion item once. If we don't get to it, it moves from J to I. And then you tell us, in January, we'll discuss these. In January, I was able to invite these people. These people can't come until February. These can't come until March. So they sit in items continued from a previous agenda, but we don't lose sight of them because of your notepad. That's where we've been, that's the rub that I'm feeling
I
right now.
don't know that, so I would have to ask.
I'm letting you know that
I know,
that's it. Okay.
I understand.
So
I
if you could take our motion, let us second, let us create our list, and then you check with the city clerk, who's going to tell you whether or not you can do it in the way that we as a commission have voted on, and then you come back to us and let us know. But for you to say, I have to do this and I have to do that, it's coming across as.
So let me clarify. All I was doing as your liaison, who's trying to help you, was help you get more of what you want.
It's true.
So by,
And I'm letting you know, I
by
don't hear that.
providing some advice on how that information can be obtained sooner rather than later or easier so that it actually comes to fruition and doesn't sit on the agenda for however long. As far as I know, every item on the agenda is passed through in a meeting.
Pass
So-
through, what do you mean pass through?
Not passed through, but rather, so if you go to items continued from previous agendas, the item gets brought up and there's discussion on the item.
Well, there are 3 items that Commissioner Skiba gave. You didn't bring them up in item I. She had to bring them up to you.
No, they were
inviting-
voted to be placed on the agenda. I haven't been able to appropriately schedule with city staff and time, et cetera, for it to actually physically happen.
And what I'm saying to you is, that's not how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to be put on our agenda so the public also sees that it's something that we're interested in talking about and discussing and making an action on.
Okay,
And they have to have the visibility, because what's happening now, not to hold you up too long, is what's happening now, if you look at J1, there's only a J1, and that's policing. It does not have the city prosecutor. It does not have the fire department. Those are supposed to be on here. We as a committee are supposed to vote whether or not they stay on the agenda item. And if those persons aren't going to show up, then that agenda item needs to be continued. I'm just giving you.
So that's
and
not
you
the
can take
direction
that
I've
up.
received.
And,
So if-
and that's why we
if
are.
the fire
wait, hold on,
department
Kyle,
notifies
Kyle,
me that-
Kyle, you
If
have
the
to let
fire
me finish
department
speaking
notifies me
and stop defending yourself.
that,
Like, just stop.
I'm not defending
Kyle,
anything.
Kyle, just stop.
Sir,
You let me finish. Let me finish. I'm still speaking. So what has to happen going forward, Kyle, and this is why we had to go before the city council, and that's why Niels came here tonight, because whatever you all are doing, you keep saying, oh, I'm talking to the city clerk, and it's not making it to the city council. City council was incensed last week, which is why the agenda item reads, we're clearing a path for the commissions to speak to us directly, because stuff is not making it to us. Whatever you all are trying to do as a commission, we want to honor that intention and also add items. And we are finding that there's friction or there is a stopgap between what you all are telling us you're trying to do and what is making it to us that you're trying to do. So I'm just letting you know, like, I hear you saying this is what you were told. Got it, real clear. What I'm asking of you as our liaison, not the liaison for the city clerk, as our liaison, just hear us. Let us proceed. Let us vote. Let us do our thing. You can give us an update, but to sort of say, I wouldn't recommend, just set that to the side, that's not working.
well,
Because hold, sir, hold. There are a ton of items. Escontrella sent up some items. I don't see those. I don't see us even talking about where's the report on X, where's the report on Y. All I see is city prosecutor no longer on here as an agenda. That is meant to tell him, be quiet. That is meant to tell him, don't ask us anything. And even if it's not, that's how it's coming across. What I'm asking you, in fact, begging, just keep our agenda as is, leave our agenda items on there. And if there's something that needs to be continued to the next, there is no impact to the person that we're inviting. Because if they said they can't make it, that's fine. Their agenda item just gets continued. But what we need to be able to do as a commission is make our agenda, space it out. You can come and just let us know, we can't do that this week. Oh, that report's going to take 3 months. If you notice, no one barked at it's going to take 3 months. But then you kept going as if to dissuade us from even making that an agenda. And I want that to stop. We have to be able to make it an agenda.
Can I make
That's
one
my
comment?
piece. That's my piece.
okay, so the commission is not permitted to direct city staff.
It's not a direction. So see, you
So,
have to stop hearing.
I don't
We
get
are-
to finish now?
No, you don't, because you're taking it and you're putting it somewhere it isn't. We are not directing city staff. We are creating agendas for this commission. Period, full stop. We are allowed to do that. That is in scope. We, number two, serve at the pleasure of the mayor and the city council. If you read our charter, those are the only two folks listed. City clerk is not listed, city staff is not listed. It is we are to make recommendations to the city council or the mayor. You are speaking on behalf of city staff, out of scope. You are speaking on behalf of city clerk, out of scope. We serve at the pleasure of the community, the city council, and the mayor. If you're going to speak on one of those three, I'm happy to hear your pushback. But if you're speaking on behalf of city staff saying they're too busy, city clerk saying that they can't do city clerk 101, which is to administer on behalf of the commission, not provide direction, then sorry, I don't have an appetite to intake that.
Why don't we let him go ahead and just?
I'm okay with that, but
Let him respond
I'm
in any
clear
way he
on,
needs to.
if you want me to intake that, it has to be on behalf of city council, or the mayor, or the community.
I mean, I can't do anything if you're gonna.
But please-
I'm
please
listening,
respond.
please listen, go
I would-
ahead.
I would venture to say,
Go ahead.
let him respond.
I am, I'm listening, I'm just saying,
I can't stipulate if you're gonna place conditions on which you'll take information that I'm providing, but
Do we
all I'm
move?
saying is, my understanding is that discussion items that are to be continued to the next agenda, my understanding is, from the city clerk, is in the discussion item, it is moved and voted on to continue it to the next agenda, right? At which time it would fall under that next section. So if you guys wanted to continue discussion or what have you, most items I place on the agenda would be like, so if city staff tells me I'm not available for the July or the November meeting, fire department, for example, I don't place them on the agenda. The city attorney at some point reached out to me at the beginning of the year and said, hey, please remove us from the agenda for this amount of time because we're too busy, whatever the case may be. So I do that. And I'm operating as your liaison to the best of my ability, to the best of what I know, et cetera. So the only thing I was trying to do with this motion, based on the scope of the data that was needed, instead of saying that's too much data, we do not have time to be able to retrieve that for you, nor do I know someone that would. Aside from you doing the work and submitting a public records request on some level and obtaining the information yourself, which you can do, I was like, oh, hey, I'm hearing that and seeing the size of it, just as a collaborative effort, was making suggestions to how that could be maybe more obtainable. So and that's my role as a liaison, is to help you guys get things done. There's a lot here that I'm gonna give 110% on. My understanding for items continued, again, is once the item's discussed in the meeting, it's voted on to be placed on the agenda. I won't necessarily place it on the agenda because of time restrictions, timing on staff, et cetera. But there's ones on here that are fairly reasonable, like a discussion on juvenile delinquency is pretty reasonable, like to be done without inviting a staff member of the city to come to a meeting at 7 o'clock and then have them sit until 9:30 before they can actually speak. So those are considerations that I make before that happens. So that's why I asked, like, hey, what sort of items do you want to discuss more sooner rather than later? I keep my list of what I'm going to put on the agenda. And then once it's on there, like, for example, it seemed like the PV prospecting was more like urgent, so to speak. So I would put that on there, and then perhaps I even like put a number system here on like what I thought your guys' priority was on each item. So the items that I haven't been able to place on the agenda yet that have been approved are still being worked on. So once something's on the agenda, like say PV prospect and a discussion regarding inviting city manager and city staff to present on items in the 24-25 fiscal budget that pertain to public safety, then if there's discussion that meeting and you wish to continue the discussion, then someone moves to continue the item to the next month's agenda, at which time that's when it would move to I at the next month's agenda. And then if there's something in I that you guys are done talking about, or, you know, like PV prospect, you talk about it. I'm here kind of in a dual role. So I'm a police officer, so I can represent some information from the police department. There's some things that I seek expertise on, or there's information that I go retrieve on my own at the request or because the need arises. But otherwise, I'm your liaison, so I can kind of act on both at certain times, but some are specific to one or the other. So that's my understanding of how it works. And that's what I'll do. I can't just place it all in I. The only reason I speculated on your motion was for a collaborative effort toward
Let me make it easy for you.
the information that you actually want.
Right. So, and I might be making an assumption, but my assumption is that the police provides an annual report every year on statistics, on traffic citations and whatnot, because obviously you want to look at your budget. So I'm wondering if in your annual report already, maybe you have these statistics on traffic citations?
I'm not familiar with, me personally,
Correct.
in my experience, I'm not familiar with an annual report that's provided by the police department to this, that, or the other. I know that data exists, and I know that there's there's processes in place in the police department that probably take that into consideration.
I'm guessing it
And
exists.
it's very
Yeah.
interdepartmental too. So like,
Right.
when the city manager's preparing a budget, the chief probably prepares him a lot of info, so, or a report of some kind, what have you. I'm not familiar with that process or the information in it. If it exists,
To the manual.
I would try and find it, obviously, or just the specific information you're looking for.
So let me
what's your motion?
rephrase my
What's your
motion
motion?
then. We're going to start small because I do want to look at the city as a whole to see if these initiatives that we're doing are effective. So let's just start with how many citations have been issued this year compared to last and what types are being issued. That's it. It's my only motion for now.
Is there a
Can you,
second?
maybe, in order, a couple things I would like to, on this. I think what you have in your questions are very reasonable, that they should be addressed, and I believe that the data is not insurmountable. I believe also is that, but if you were to structure it between, say, a 6-month period, that would allow them. I would also say that you're a liaison officer, you're not the gatherer of data. I think a traffic officer can come in here and should be able to answer that.
Right.
If he does not know it, he should know it, okay? I'll put it to you this way, okay? Whether he's got to sit there from 7 to 9, you're being paid.
Sorry.
Somebody's being paid overtime or whatever else, okay? We're not. So I think the issue comes up is that I understand it. I understand what he's saying, very much so. They should be on the agenda. We should know why the fire department isn't here. This is what we're supposed to be doing, okay? But I'm getting back to what she was asking for. I don't think
Stay with
it's
the
unreasonable.
motion.
I don't believe that is insurmountable. I believe that it'll probably take you about 47 minutes to get that information. Because the way your CAD system is set up and the way your citation system is set up, it is within there, okay? Right around there, and if not, I think a motor cop can come in here because they're getting that 6 or 8% pay bump to ride the bike, that they should be able to do that. Because I'm quite honestly that you should have motors working at night as well. I understand our frustration as well, but I think sometimes that I think some of us are feel that we're being stonewalled on stuff from the department. And I understand that you're being put in the middle. You're a police officer, you're not a sergeant, you're not a lieutenant, and it bothers me why a lieutenant or a captain should be in your position and not you. Okay, that's just the direction in the thing. But anyway, okay.
That's not being insulting,
If
but
we can
I
go
don't-
ahead and maybe give them a time frame that would make it a little easier, then maybe that could start off with that. Would that be reasonable, ma'am?
I said 3
Actually,
months.
that's,
You can do longer.
this is,
However time frame you feel
I just don't know
comfortable
what you mean by types, like types of
e-bike, speeding.
Like-
Yeah, what is the citation written for? Is it?
violation.
Yes, correct.
DUI.
And then
Thank
some
you.
are like multiple violations,
Yeah,
The more serious thing?
no, just,
so that might be like its
oh,
own
I want a
category
starting
of-
point. Yeah.
A baseline.
A baseline, and then we can expand on it down the line. This is just, the first start of this, and then as we
This
get
is
that
informational.
information, we can then go and expand
Yes.
on it.
This is informational, not actionable.
Right.
That-
It's
No,
just
right,
getting
and I want to
data.
distinguish between your guys' action to place a discussion item on the agenda between, hey, this is some information we'd be interested, like, kind of like Chief Reagan does, where like you guys are like, hey, I understand this is many medical calls, how many went to Manhattan Beach? And then he's like, oh, I think I can do that. So there's no discussion item per se, he's just able to accommodate that request in the fire
Yeah.
update section. So that's why before you made a motion also, I'm like, hey, what information do you want?
And
I'll
that's why
try
we
and
said
get it.
Either a person or an administrative report, one of the two, like
Yeah.
we can
Yeah,
read.
well, this is a much smaller bite, so that's much easier to get, like by
Started
next
small
meeting.
for you. There
too,
you go.
even.
Can I add something to the motion?
Yeah,
Just to be very blunt, nothing gets done January or February with public safety
Said
commissions.
3 months.
No,
didn't say
nothing,
tomorrow.
nothing gets done because there's nothing scheduled. You've got Martin Luther King, you've got,
No, I got it. You got Black History Month. You're speaking to an HR person. I
yes,
know. every
nothing
single thing.
gets done.
But I
So,
think we're missing and we're assuming, like, she clearly said, over the next 3 months, 6 months.
right, but we will not
Well, no,
meet
the-
here
you
January
know,
or
like, I don't
February.
need 3 months to
That's
do,
silly.
like, this is
March.
very.
March, but
And we can
And I'll
still get
just,
the
in
data.
J3,
maybe.
or what's
an
normally
administrative
J3,
report.
I
We
can
can do it by
share
then.
We're
that.
not meeting January, February.
National holidays, it never happens. There's always discussion every year, and it's always Martin Luther King, third Monday. isn't it? Or
There's
am I not
several
right?
holidays on the third Monday,
Are there any?
at least January.
It's also
I'm not
Inauguration
saying
Day.
that.
This
I'm
month.
saying
Inauguration Day.
We can't base it on if we're meeting, if you come up with an administrative report. You can still send that to us. That can still be like.
I
so,
agree with
like, so
that.
I don't think we can, I hear you,
Yeah.
but I
we-
want to stick to the motion.
Ah, Jesus.
Let's
So
get
how
the
about an
motion
Can I get a
passed
second?
and let Kyle come back with,
Well, that's what I mean.
I
I don't know
can't
if you
get this
need
until
like
April.
a motion to just ask me for that information.
Yes,
That's
we
why-
do.
That's why I was
Yes,
trying
we
to say
do.
that.
Yes, we
Gil
do.
seconded
There
it.
needs to be
I'll
motion and
second.
second. Yes, we
I'll
do.
second the
Yes, we do.
motion.
For Christ's
Yep.
sake.
The motion has
But you won't
been
stop.
Been
brought,
seconded.
Yes.
brought forth
Yeah.
and seconded. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Sure.
Commissioner Wadnicki,
Aye.
Commissioner Skiba,
Aye.
Commissioner Escontrias,
Aye.
Commissioner Kleinbaum,
Aye.
Commissioner Gall,
Aye.
Commissioner Gupta,
Aye.
and Chair Carmichael.
Aye.
Can I please speak?
Hang tight.
Can I please speak?
Yeah.
Not on that thing, but I need to speak.
Okay,
All right.
yes.
All right. Can we not reschedule our Public Safety Commission meeting to another Monday or even another night?
We'd have to vote on it, but
Um,
We
yes.
could vote on that. We could do
So
that.
I think I've done this before. You can, if there's urgent business, you can call a special meeting. The only issue with is finding time when there's not already.
Right, but I mean,
going on
we
here.
could
So
do,
there's usually
there's like,
like a
it's
Tuesday,
ridiculous to
Wednesday.
miss 2 months of meetings. I mean, really.
To answer your question, yes, we can, and if need be, yes, we will,
Well, then,
because
I think
one
we
of
should
the
look at it
motions-
before the calendar fills up.
So
Even
there's
more,
a
yeah,
procedure, I have it right here.
Thank you.
So to call a special meeting for urgent business. uh, I felt like it was right here. Hold on one second. Here you go.
I know they have them. I know it's been done before.
Special meetings are meetings scheduled on a day other than regular meeting date and called by the presiding officer or majority of the legislative body to discuss only specific items on the agenda with notice being published, et cetera, et cetera. And there's only 24 hours notice. Typically, that's it. So they would like modify the agenda on a special meeting to discuss a specific like time-sensitive issue. So we had to do it once because the city's hazard safety mitigation plan had to go through every commission. And they needed us and we weren't, it was in January. And so the December meeting, they called a special meeting on, I think there was 3 days that happened, and then one happened to work, everybody could attend, because it was just random Tuesdays and Wednesdays that don't happen to commission already. So they called it to approve that.
But are there provisions within there that indicate that if a meeting falls on a holiday, that is to be made up on another day?
Not that I've read this many a time, and I don't,
Missing 2
I
can
can
months.
make a motion to figure this out.
I could ask if,
And we'll go before the city council to get that. So, absolutely. I'm
Yeah,
down.
because 2
So,
months is a
it's
lot of
been-
time to
it's been-
lose.
Exactly, agreed, especially if attendance says you can't miss 2 meetings consecutively.
Yeah.
Right, so, okay, so, thank you,
It's
and we
January
will.
and February, right?
But we have to look at the calendar, let's
Yeah,
not jump the
I
gun,
know,
but
I
yes,
know.
we can,
President's Day and Martin Luther King.
yeah, you can knock it all out next meeting.
exactly.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I had one more thing
Oh,
too,
yes.
if I may. Okay, when we're talking about these potential fines for the e-bike violators, would that require like a local ordinance, like for Redondo Beach, to be put into effect? And how do we go about that, getting an ordinance or whatever's required to be able to
That
fine
we
these
can,
people?
That would be part
after
of the
we adjourn, we
discussion.
can, I'll
Uh,
discuss it all you want. Like, we can adjourn and I'll just,
Okay,
we can have a sidebar.
right, right. Okay.
Okay. All right. All right, so I have one or
Wait,
two.
I thought you could make comments.
Oh, yes.
I never got a chance.
Sorry.
Okay, so I guess one thing is odd, we vote on it first and then you can make a comment. You'd think you'd want to make a comment first before you vote, but it's got backwards, but everything's like that.
That's
Okay.
right.
So I think I've been here on this commission longer than anybody, I think, okay? And then I think like 6 years. And my recollection is
I
that.
think Jeff's got you beat, but nice
You have
try.
me beat? Okay.
By 1 year.
Oh, okay, 1 year, okay, I'm wrong, okay,
I'm
thank you.
just teasing. Go ahead.
Okay, so, but my observation is that any request for data that we've ever made has almost always been declined.
Always.
Yeah, and so
always
it's
the
like,
ability
and
to
so,
put on the
I don't even make the request anymore because I've like given up, just so they don't get false hope. And so, there's something terribly wrong there. It doesn't matter what you ask for, it gets declined.
Which is why
I'm
I'm
just,
making us vote
like
for
I
it.
said, I'm just giving 110 here. Some stuff I've been able to do. I've only obviously been around for 2.5, 3 years. But it's been explained to me differently a couple times, and I just continue to make an appearance over there and ask questions and try and figure it out. Data-wise, there's some things that I can obtain and am approved to obtain, and then some they don't, and I don't always get an explanation, so it just kind of.
I will say, it's
Is what it is.
interesting that I had requested at a meeting to get that study, the speed study, and I was told no.
Yeah.
But then Mr. Pershland was able to obtain it. And so if he's able to get it, how come you can't get it for us?
They weren't making it public.
No, they said you
No.
could
But
make
they
a
said if you do a
request, records
PRA,
request.
if you do a public
So
records
is
act.
that how
I
we
think
get
we were just-
information then?
I think maybe it was just I don't know. I would just
Yeah.
speculate that everyone's at the same level in regards to how we're gonna release information.
So as a commission, do we
Like
need to make a
that.
public records request to get?
I mean, not now, because we haven't.
No, but I'm
yes,
saying in the
yes.
future, when
For
you say
certain
that
thi-
you want
when we get a
information.
no, when we get a no like that.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't, and please tell me if I'm speaking, it wasn't like, no, public safety can't have it. They were saying, no, nobody.
Nobody could have
Right?
it.
If you want to get it, you have to make an official
Yeah,
public
request,
records
right.
act request, and they got it. So like, there is a way to do it.
So is that how we get, is that how we're
No,
supposed to be
that's not
getting things
everything.
then?
There are
That's what,
certain,
it-
there are
based on
certain
what
things that
my
they
mom
put that
said.
around, but
Correct.
I do find that to be effective.
Yeah.
On that, to do that same thing, this is what bothers me a lot, is the police department is put out there, oh, we're transparent, this and that. So how is it that if an item, because you initially said it was confidential, okay? And there's nothing confidential, especially, because I've read your whole manual. Nothing in there indicates confidentiality. It bothers me that we have to go outside the path to what we're supposed to be doing to gather information. I would do this, okay? Because when we asked you, you said, well, my chain of command said that. I'm gonna make a request then next time is that when we get denied something, I want a name of the person who said no. Or the email of your request indicating that they declined that they would do that, okay? The issue that comes up with that is accountability. That if some sergeant, some captain, some fire chief, assistant chief, or some clerk down over at Parks and Rec says no, then you better give us a reason why. Not just the idea is because I said so, okay? That didn't work when I was a cop, okay, after 45 years, okay?
I
And
don't
I
know.
understand how the chain of
I don't know
command
the
works.
reasoning. It just might, they just don't consider that the scope of.
Then ideally, then it should be, we decline to do this, here's the email, because of scope, signed by such and such. Again, like 13 years in the military, like 45 years in the law enforcement, somebody has to be held accountable because somebody has to sign off on it. If they have a valid reason, great, good. But if there isn't, because somehow we're an inconvenience to certain people, or that there are certain people within the city who believe we're asking too many questions, that is not acceptable.
And for us, if I may just put a pin on that so we can close out, because it's past my bedtime. We can make that an agenda item as to how we interact with city staff, but that's part of what P5 is. City staff will take direction because the city manager has one boss, and that's the mayor, right? That's city council. So once we get them on board and providing that direction, then we can provide that counsel to Kyle. Sorry, Kyle.
But
I
again,
want to put the cart before the horse, but yes.
I think
and
the idea-
100%
I
agree.
don't have a dog in the fight.
Well, in essence, I believe you do. Again, you're accountable to your supervisors as well as how you perform your job as well. and also the perception of the police department. And unfortunately, they put you in a very, very difficult position. Okay? Because again.
Your perception, yeah, the perception to the public right
Right.
here is what we're, as
Sure,
it's,
yeah.
it's trying to just get you to sort of focus on. It's
But
it's
again, it's
not
like
you.
when we ask for
but-
information such as a policy or procedure, I'd like to see it. There's a training bulletin. I want to see the training bulletin. Okay? It's not that we're saying that you're lying to us. Okay, just saying is that something tangible to be able to do that.
Yeah, no, I get it. I just.
All right,
Not
so
the best.
I'm going to go with mine. I wanted a motion to discuss the list of items that Councilman Nierenheim presented to us as
God.
what will be the ask. We'll have to pull it from the tape, so I'm just going to make
Can
that
email you guys. right?
correct. But I just want a motion to discuss.
Let's just
because-
refer to it as the items presented by Councilman Nerman.
That's exactly what
I
I said.
wrote them all down.
That's exactly what I said, though,
You
bro.
did, oh.
Yes. You
I'll watch the
you
tape.
want me to say
A
them for
discussion
you.
item?
Yes, discussion.
Wait, sorry.
Motion to discuss, motion for discussion prior to action regarding list of
The list.
commission asks from Councilmember Nierenheim. So we can like rack and stack it, create a subcommittee if we need to, based on the different. Because he kept saying HR a couple times. So it's like, we need to figure out who has skill set and what, so that way we can be effective on saying yes to that list he gave.
Kyle,
Can I get a second?
oh, you're doing that?
Oh,
Okay.
a second.
Mm.
Motion has been passed and or carried and seconded.
We did it.
Can I get a roll call?
Commissioner Watnicki?
Aye.
Commissioner Skiba?
Aye.
Commissioner Escontrias?
Aye.
Commissioner Kleinbaum?
I abstain because I don't know what I'm voting on.
Oh,
Would you like it
I'll make the motion
restated?
again. So motion for discussion prior to action of the list of asks that came from Commissioner. Okay, you got it, okay.
Are you still abstaining?
Aye.
Commissioner Gall?
Aye.
Commissioner Gupta?
Aye.
Chair Carmichael?
Aye.
There we go. So moved.
And I just want to give a quick shout out to the Redondo Beach Fire Department. They came to my house. I spaced. I had a senior moment. I didn't know how to turn off my fireplace. And they came out.
High quality service right there.
It was so mortifying. It was.
So high quality.
I guess that's why they're not here.
Full
They're still
service.
working.
That's probably why they're not here. They didn't want to put
That
my,
is a genuine
my
example of full
information
service.
on their report. Yeah.
I mean, I'm dead serious.
I had a total senior moment. I was like, it just keeps getting bigger. They're like, so shout out to the fire department. I'm so wish they were here so I could say it in person. And to the public works department, there's a gentleman named Vic who empties the trash on the Esplanade. His route, the time I come there is between 7 and 7:18. He should be like community service. Like he smiles, he speaks to everyone, he shakes folks' hand, he like speaks when he gets out of the truck, because I'm usually parked soaking in the sunrise. He gets out of his truck, he waves, he empties the trash, he waves before he leaves. Just so excited about just being alive. I don't know. But I told him I wanted to give him a shout out at the
You can write
next
a
meeting.
commendation in Parks and Recreation.
Okay.
When I was on the Parks Commission, we developed a employee acknowledgement.
Oh, I'm definitely doing
If
that.
you go on there,
idea.
it's called Telework, for volunteers as well as for city.
You guys have Comcate too? Like that's something you can put through the Comcate customer service portal.
We knew what you're talking about, but
Do
okay.
that as well.
But the COMCAKE, like Comcake?
Comcate,
Oh, okay.
C-A-T-E.
You
Yeah,
tell
that's
him
on
I'm
the,
good. And what
see, I
did you?
don't know what it looks like from the other side. I only have
What
the
did you-
inside.
Parks and Rec,
Parks and Rec?
Kelly Orta. Yeah, we developed a recognition for volunteers and anyone else generally who does, any goes above and beyond. Since he's public works, generally that does fall under that as well.
All right, will do. Thank you. I didn't know, but I will. Yeah.
Oh, took me
Any other items? Okay, public safety meeting adjourned 9:09 PM. Oh, no, I have to get a motion, don't I? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Adjourn.
No, somebody has to make a motion.
Second.
Can I get a motion to adjourn? Or am I motioning to adjourn?
You're making.
No,
Somebody make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I second it.
all in favor?
Aye. All right.
9:09 PM.
9:09 PM. Public Safety Commission adjourned.